Have you ever noticed how some people at 80 seem more alive than others half their age? What separates those who merely survive into their 80s from those who are genuinely thriving? Today, we're going to explore 5 unmistakable signs that someone isn't just getting older, they're winning at life after 80. These aren't about wealth or status or impressive achievements. They're about something far more valuable. The ability to stay connected to what makes life worth living, to maintain independence and purpose, and to face each day with strength and gratitude. If you're approaching this age yourself, or if you care about someone who is, understanding these signs can transform how you think about aging entirely. Let's begin with the first sign, and it might surprise you because it seems so simple. Walking without fear. Now, I'm not just talking about the physical act of putting one foot in front of the other. I'm talking about moving through the world with confidence, without anxiety about falling, without hesitation about going where you want to go. This matters more than most people realize. Walking represents freedom. When you can walk confidently, you maintain independence. You don't need to wait for someone to drive you places. You don't need to feel trapped in your home. You can explore, visit friends, run errands, and participate in life on your own terms. But there's something deeper happening when someone walks without fear. It reflects a harmony between body and mind. Your muscles are strong enough to support you. Your balance is reliable. Your bones can handle the stress. Your cardiovascular system delivers oxygen efficiently. And just as importantly, your mind trusts your body. You're not plagued by anxiety about every step. You're not constantly calculating risk. You're simply moving naturally and confidently the way humans were designed to move. Walking does something profound for your brain too. Research shows that regular walking increases blood flow to the brain, which supports cognitive function and memory. It stimulates the release of chemicals that protect brain cells and encourage the growth of new neural connections. People who walk regularly experience sharper thinking, better mood regulation, and slower cognitive decline. When you see an 80-year-old walking with confidence, you're witnessing someone whose body and mind are working together to maintain vitality. Consider Helen's story. At 83, after knee surgery, she faced a choice many older adults confront. She could accept limited mobility and increasingly depend on others for transportation and daily activities, or she could commit to rehabilitation and reclaim her independence. Helen chose the harder path. She worked with physical therapists, followed her exercise plan religiously, and gradually built up her strength and confidence. Today, she walks 3 blocks to her local coffee shop several mornings a week. She visits the library on foot. She tends her garden without assistance. But more than the physical benefits, Helen talks about how walking makes her feel capable, independent, alive. She's not just moving her body. She's declaring to herself and the world that she's still an active participant in life. The core insight here is that walking without fear represents far more than physical ability. It symbolizes the choice to remain engaged with the world, to refuse limitation, to maintain autonomy. When you can walk confidently at 80, you're demonstrating that your body, mind, and spirit remain aligned and strong. You're winning at life because you haven't surrendered your freedom. Our second sign is equally powerful. The ability to remember, reflect, and continue learning. Memory at 80 isn't about perfectly recalling every detail of yesterday or from decades past. It's about maintaining connection to the experiences that have shaped you, the people who matter, and the knowledge you've accumulated over a lifetime. When someone at 80 can recall meaningful moments, share stories with clarity, and stay present in conversations, they're demonstrating that their mind remains engaged and vital. But remembering is only part of this sign. Reflection matters just as much. The ability to look back on your life with perspective, to understand how experiences have shaped you, to make peace with difficulties and celebrate triumphs. This represents emotional maturity and wisdom that only comes with time. Reflection transforms raw experience into insight. It allows you to see patterns, understand relationships, and appreciate the arc of your life in ways younger people simply cannot. When an 80-year-old can reflect meaningfully on their past, they're showing that they've done the internal work necessary to find peace and meaning. And then there's learning, which might be the most important element of all. At 80, continuing to learn new things demonstrates curiosity, mental flexibility, and engagement with the present moment. Learning keeps your brain active and healthy. It creates new neural pathways and maintains cognitive reserve, which helps protect against dementia and cognitive decline. But beyond the neurological benefits, learning sends a powerful message to yourself. You're telling yourself that life still holds discovery, that you're not finished growing, that the world still has things to teach you. Robert's experience illustrates this beautifully. At 81, after a long career as an engineer, he could have simply relaxed into retirement, replaying old memories and letting his mind coast. Instead, he enrolled in online history courses through a local university. He's learning about periods and places he never studied before. He watches lectures, reads assignments, and participates in discussion forums with students of all ages. Robert says every time he learns something new, it feels like he's adding another candle to his soul. His mind stays sharp. His days feel purposeful. He's connected to the present and the future, not just dwelling in the past. The core insight here is that memory, reflection, and learning work together to create a vibrant mental and emotional life at 80. Remembering connects you to your past and gives your life continuity. Reflection transforms experience into wisdom. Learning keeps you engaged with the present and optimistic about the future. Together, these abilities demonstrate that someone's mind remains active, curious, and growing. That's what winning at life looks like after 80. Our third sign might be the most joyful: the ability to laugh and find delight in simple things. Laughter at 80 is a triumph. It means that despite losses, disappointments, physical challenges, and the inevitable hardships that come with a long life, your spirit remains unbroken. You haven't become bitter or cynical. You haven't lost your sense of humor or your appreciation for life's absurdities and small pleasures. This matters enormously because emotional resilience directly impacts physical health and longevity. When you laugh, remarkable things happen in your body. Stress hormones decrease, your immune system strengthens, your heart and lungs get exercised. Endorphins, natural pain relievers, and mood elevators flood your system. Blood pressure drops, muscle tension releases. Laughter is literally medicine, and at 80, it's medicine you desperately need. But beyond the physical benefits, laughter connects you to other people. Shared humor creates bonds. It breaks down barriers between generations. It reminds everyone around you that joy is still possible regardless of age. Finding delight in simple things demonstrates something equally important: perspective and presence. When you can appreciate a beautiful sunset, enjoy the taste of your morning coffee, smile at a grandchild's joke, or find pleasure in a bird singing outside your window, you're showing that you haven't lost touch with what makes life worth living. You're not so focused on big achievements or material possessions that you've forgotten to notice the small, constant gifts that surround you every day. This capacity for simple joy indicates emotional health and spiritual richness that money cannot buy. Eleanor's story captures this perfectly. At 84, she's faced more than her share of hardship. She's buried a husband, survived cancer, and lived through the loss of close friends. But if you spend time with Eleanor, you'll hear laughter. She finds humor in everyday situations. She smiles easily. She takes delight in visits from her great-grandchildren, in tending her houseplants, in phone calls with old friends. Eleanor says that laughter is her way of telling life she's not defeated. Every chuckle is a small victory. Every smile is an act of defiance against despair. She's winning at life because she's chosen joy over bitterness, humor over resentment, delight over cynicism. The core insight here is that laughter and joy at 80 represent an unbroken spirit. They demonstrate emotional resilience, social connection, and the wisdom to appreciate what matters. When someone at 80 can still laugh genuinely and find pleasure in simple moments, they're showing you someone who has mastered the art of living well, regardless of circumstances. Our fourth sign is deeply practical, yet profoundly meaningful: the ability to take care of yourself and others. Self-care at 80 isn't about luxury spa treatments or expensive products. It's about maintaining the routines and habits that preserve your health, dignity, and independence. Getting dressed each morning, preparing nutritious meals, managing medications properly, maintaining personal hygiene, keeping your living space reasonably clean and organized. These activities might seem mundane, but they represent something crucial: the ability and motivation to invest in your own well-being, to treat yourself with respect and care, to maintain standards for your own life. When you take care of yourself at 80, you're exercising both physical and cognitive skills. Following routines requires memory and executive function. Preparing meals involves planning, sequencing, and motor skills. Managing your environment demands attention and organization. Each of these activities keeps your brain engaged and your body active. They provide structure to your days and purpose to your efforts. People who maintain self-care routines typically experience better physical health, sharper cognitive function, and stronger emotional well-being than those who become passive and dependent. But here's what makes this sign even more powerful: the ability to care for others alongside caring for yourself. At 80, when you still check on a neighbor, help a friend, offer advice to younger family members, or contribute in some way to others' well-being, you're demonstrating that you haven't retreated into pure self-focus. You recognize that connection and contribution give life meaning. Research consistently shows that people who maintain a sense of purpose and engage in helping behaviors live longer and experience better health than those who become entirely self-absorbed or isolated. James exemplifies this at 82. He maintains his own apartment, cooks his own meals, and manages his own affairs. But several times a week, he checks on his neighbor, another senior who has fewer family connections. James brings her homemade soup occasionally. He offers to pick up groceries when he's going to the store. He simply stops by to chat and make sure she's okay. James says that taking care of his neighbor gives him motivation to take care of himself. If he's going to be reliable for her, he needs to stay healthy and capable. This reciprocal relationship enriches both their lives and demonstrates what winning at 80 truly means: independence combined with interdependence, self-care supporting the ability to care for others. The core insight here is that maintaining self-care and extending care to others demonstrates both capability and purpose. It shows that someone at 80 hasn't surrendered their autonomy or retreated into helplessness. They're still active agents in their own lives and contributors to others' well-being. That combination of independence and connection defines success at any age, but it's especially remarkable at 80. Our fifth and final sign might be the most important of all: feeling grateful to be alive. Gratitude at 80 represents a profound form of emotional maturity and spiritual peace. After 8 decades of life, you've experienced loss, disappointment, pain, and hardship alongside joy, love, achievement, and beauty. You've witnessed how fragile life is. You've said goodbye to people you loved. You've faced your own mortality. And yet, if you can still feel genuine gratitude for being alive, for having another day, for the experiences you've had, and the people in your life, you've achieved something remarkable. You've mastered the art of acceptance and appreciation. Gratitude does something powerful in your brain and body. It activates neural pathways associated with happiness and contentment. It reduces symptoms of depression and anxiety. It improves sleep quality. It strengthens relationships because grateful people are more generous, forgiving, and socially connected. Gratitude literally rewires your brain toward positive emotion and away from negative rumination. For someone at 80, cultivating gratitude becomes a survival skill and a source of joy that external circumstances cannot diminish. Feeling grateful to be alive doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect or denying difficulties. It means choosing to focus on what you have rather than what you've lost, on possibilities rather than limitations, on blessings rather than burdens. This shift in perspective transforms aging from a process of decline into an opportunity for deepening appreciation. Every sunrise becomes more precious when you recognize how many you've witnessed and how few may remain. Every conversation with a loved one gains significance when you understand how valuable connection truly is. Every moment of comfort, every taste of good food, every laugh shared with a friend becomes a gift to notice and cherish. Carol embodies this at 85. Each evening before bed, she writes in a journal listing 3 things she's grateful for that day. Some entries are significant: time spent with grandchildren, good news from a doctor's appointment, a meaningful conversation with an old friend. But many are beautifully simple: the warmth of sunshine through her window, the taste of her morning tea, the softness of her favorite sweater, the kindness of a cashier at the grocery store. Carol says this practice has taught her that gratitude isn't about waiting for big moments to celebrate. It's about noticing and appreciating the constant small gifts that fill every day. At 85, she goes to sleep each night feeling wealthy beyond measure, not because of money or possessions, but because she's trained her mind to recognize abundance in ordinary moments. The core insight here is that gratitude transforms aging from a process of loss into a celebration of life itself. When someone at 80 feels genuinely thankful to be alive, they've achieved emotional and spiritual mastery that eludes many younger people. They've learned that the quality of your life depends less on external circumstances than on your internal response to those circumstances. They've discovered that peace and joy come from appreciation, not accumulation. This wisdom, this capacity for gratitude despite everything, represents the highest form of success in later life. Now let's step back and see these 5 signs together. Walking without fear. Remembering, reflecting and learning. Laughing and finding joy in simple things. Taking care of yourself and others. Feeling grateful to be alive. Notice what these signs have in common. They're not about money, status, or conventional achievement. They're about vitality, connection, purpose, and emotional wisdom. They represent a way of being in the world that honors both independence and interdependence, both strength and vulnerability, both past experience and present engagement. These signs demonstrate something our culture often overlooks. Aging doesn't have to mean decline, limitation, or irrelevance. It can mean mastery. Mastery of your body through continued movement and self-care. Mastery of your mind through ongoing learning and reflection. Mastery of your emotions through humor, resilience, and gratitude. Mastery of relationships through continued care for yourself and others. When you see someone at 80 displaying these 5 signs, you're witnessing someone who has learned how to live well, not just how to survive long. I want to emphasize that these signs aren't all or nothing propositions. You don't need to excel at all 5 to be winning at life after 80. Maybe you struggle with mobility, but your mind is sharp and your gratitude runs deep. Maybe your memory isn't what it was, but you laugh easily and care deeply for the people around you. The point isn't perfection, it's direction. Are you moving toward vitality or away from it? Are you fighting to maintain what matters or surrendering to limitations? Are you choosing engagement or withdrawal? These questions matter far more than whether you check every box perfectly. And here's something crucial. These signs aren't just for people who are already 80. They're goals to work toward at every age. If you're 60 or 70, you can start now to build the habits and attitudes that will serve you at 80 and beyond. Establish a walking routine while it's easier. Cultivate curiosity and keep learning. Practice finding humor and joy in everyday moments. Take care of yourself and maintain connections with others. Develop a gratitude practice that trains your mind toward appreciation. The earlier you start building these patterns, the more natural they'll feel when you need them most. If you're caring for someone who is 80 or older, these 5 signs give you a framework for supporting their success. Encourage walking and movement rather than overprotecting. Engage them in conversations that exercise memory and invite reflection. Facilitate opportunities for learning, whether through classes, books, documentaries, or new experiences. Find ways to laugh together and help them notice simple pleasures. Support their independence in self-care rather than doing everything for them. Express appreciation for their presence and their contributions to your life. These approaches honor their capacity and dignity rather than treating them as fragile or incompetent. The truth is that our society often underestimates what's possible at 80. We set expectations too low. We assume decline is inevitable and rapid. We treat older adults as though they're past the point of growth or contribution. But when you look at people who are genuinely winning at life after 80, you see something different. You see individuals who have refused to accept those limiting beliefs. They're still growing, still contributing, still engaged, still finding reasons to laugh and be grateful. They're proof that aging can be an ascent rather than a descent, a time of consolidation and wisdom rather than loss and limitation. So here's what I want you to do. If this video has given you a new perspective on what's possible after 80, share it with someone who needs this message. Maybe it's a parent or grandparent who would benefit from seeing these qualities recognized and celebrated. Maybe it's a friend your own age who needs encouragement to keep working toward vitality rather than accepting decline. Maybe it's a younger person who needs to understand that aging doesn't have to look the way they've been taught to expect. Leave a comment sharing which of these 5 signs you're working to strengthen in your own life, or tell us about someone you know who embodies these qualities at 80 or beyond. Your story might inspire someone else to see what's possible. Subscribe to this channel because we're committed to helping you understand not just how to live longer, but how to live better at every stage of life. Winning at life after 80 isn't about luck or genetics alone. It's about choices, attitudes, and habits you can cultivate starting right now. Age is just a number. What matters is how alive you feel, how connected you remain, how much gratitude fills your heart. That's a success worth celebrating.